Hey everybody, welcome back to a special edition of Girl Dad Girls. I'm your host, that QT Danny B. With me we have, as always, Bree St. Marie, and also, as always, the amazing Scarlett Zexion1337, super elite. So hey girls, I think this episode we're gonna do a special just us episode where we're gonna be catching up, discussing our various Pride experiences, and because right now in the recording of this, it's right in the middle of Pride, and we wanted to talk about like our different experiences. So, because I'm in New York right now as of this recording, maybe by the time it's released, I'll be somewhere else, but we'll see. We'll see whenever we get around to releasing this one. But yeah, who wants to go first? Tell us about how your Pride's been.
I can do it.
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
Because I did find the messages. I did find the messages, Bree. I was like, okay. I want to talk about trans babies.
Oh,
Take
yes.
your time finding love.
Take your fucking time.
Take your time in trying to find. I get it. You want validation.
Yeah.
You want it. You crave it. You want love. You're like, I finally figured out myself. I still don't love myself. Well, better get for someone else. Listen, slow your roll. I've had too many people, I won't name them, that just love bomb and love bomb and love bomb, and it's crazy, and try to trauma bond. I mean, I know most of the LGBTQ community has gone through just trauma of some kind, right? That's almost one thing that bonds us, which is not the best bond to have. No. It's just like you are the weakest link, goodbye. Like, that's not a great thing.
We're bonded in tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also, I don't know, but from my experience, especially being here in New York, which is apparently like the mecca of the trans community, it's like, I mean, even here, it's really tough because people who want to date a trans person are usually not the most reputable people, and
that sounds like trauma-inducing people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've noticed it. Like, and I think one of the things that I've found is like, yeah, you can find this camaraderie on the internet, but like jumping into something really quickly just because it's something. Yeah, I mean, I kind of did that with a girl here when I first moved here, and she dropped the L-bomb after like 4 weeks of dating. I was just like, well,
she's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I'm really dishonored to share a name with someone.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been going to these Pride events, and it's just so interesting because I feel like trans people are like, we're kind of like that redheaded stepchild of the LGBTQ community, where it's like all the gay people get together and all the lesbians get together, and neither one of them wants to talk to us. Like, you know, went to this Pride event, like it was all the lesbians all hanging out and all the gay people hanging out, and I was like, me and this like trans guy were like the only ones that were like, okay. Although actually no, the trans guy had like a boyfriend.
Did you just chisel it down yourself?
It's just me. And there, all the allies, everybody being like, "You look so good." I'm like, "Then why doesn't anybody want to date me?"
And that's the thing is, you have to, and I'm gonna get a tattoo of this. Make your own happiness. Cannot rely on somebody else. Period. If you find somebody, awesome. If not, that should not detract. Like it should be additive in terms of you are already a complete person adding more to your life, not they complete me. It needs in poly, that's what happens, is me dating more than one person does not take away from anybody else in the relationships with me. It's additive. And so it's like, you don't want to add to complete you. You want it to add to an already fulfilled life. And if you don't have that, then what you're doing is you're giving too much of a burden. You're putting too much pressure on a partner or partners to fill that gap for you while also trying to live their own lives. That's a lot. That's a lot on another person to do.
Totally.
And so that creates a lot of attention seeking, a lot of loneliness, where it's like if you don't have it, and it creates those tendencies for relationships where it can become toxic because one person is relying on the other person so much more. where you just become just not like a leech, but it's almost like you are latching onto them in terms of like, oh, this is where I get my love, my validation. This is where I get everything that I haven't had. Like I need it. And it can be daunting to another. I know I've had that in the past with a partner in the last 2 years. Again, I won't name them who. And then I've had lots of friends confess to me that they love me, and not in a, oh, I love you as a friend way. It is like, wait, what? We've had one, like, one-on-one time, and I am very, very clear with my wording, one-on-one time with people versus dates. Because if I don't, people get misled very easily.
Oh, you mean actually one-on-one time, not like
that's what I'm saying. It's like, listen, I'm demisexual, believe it or not, even though I have the prawn.
Gingerly pushing tips.
Just a little tip.
Yeah.
It makes it really difficult when they confess to me. I'm like, we've seen each other 3 times.
Okay, so that love you I sent you earlier was not one of those.
No, it's a friend. I can easily tell. That's the difference. I know yours. Like that's the one, right? That's the one where I'm like, I love you too. Like, yeah. Cool. This is not a romantic. Like we have like nothing yet. Like I have to say yet because you never know for the future, right? But it's like where it is like we have not had a physical. We have not gotten to know each other. Like we have not seen each other in person. Like, it's just, like, it's difficult along those lines. Yeah. But, of course, it's friendship, love. Love breed. Hell yes.
Well, and one of the things that I've realized recently that I need to get back into this mental space is, like, honestly, if I think about, like, I'm out there seeking something, a relationship, even though I realize when I actually sit down and think about it, I don't have time for that shit. Because, like, I have this amazing podcast with 2 of my favorite people, and then I have my job, and I have all my side projects. Yeah. And if somebody were to come in and try to like be here, like especially if somebody was here like right now, it's like I got stuff to do, and then after this, I got to go out and hang out with people. What I will say though, one thing, I mean, like seeking out a romantic relationship, but seeking out friends. Like I have started hanging out one-on-one with like friends. And I'll say that gives me more of that like fulfillment, because back in Virginia, I was always like trying to find a friend group, but now I'm like, let's just go one-on-one, go to dinner, and just chat, like
That's where it's at.
And because I realized when I moved to Austin for the first time, like I used to go to dinner with my aunt once a week, and obviously that was not romantic because it wasn't West Virginia. Canceled. But we'd go to dinner, and I kind of missed that, like having like a kind of a schedule. Like I mean, for instance, for those who have noticed, we've taken off a couple of weeks from doing this, and I miss y'all. I get so much out of these like Thursday night recordings, just chatting with my friends.
Just need that time though sometimes, and that's important, is making that time for yourself. And it was like how I was saying for like the partners, how you're like, oh, I don't think I could add somebody. Well, here's the thing: if everybody treated everybody else like they're a main character, there wouldn't be that issue, because then they realize, oh, you do have things in your life just like I do, and it's not on you to make their happiness. If they are in that room with you, while they could just be going off and doing something else while you're busy, that's on them. That's not on you. That's on them. So it's like, if they enjoy being there, awesome, right? There shouldn't be that pressure where it's like, oh, am I being entertaining enough? Am I doing what I need to do? It should just be natural, where they're like, oh, I enjoy being here. And there should be that trust that that's true. They mean that. And if that's not present, that's an issue. And so it's just like, it's like with my partners, we make the time we can, and we are happy with the time we get. Like, because my life is busy as all hell. Like, I have the next 3 weeks planned out. Hell, I'm going to Denver this weekend. I know this podcast is after, so it's like, haha, sure, daddy.
Listen, have answered that.
So it's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, my partner knows. And actually knows, like, in person, because I've had him over here. Like, we've all met. And it's really cool to do that, where it's like you have that open communication and trust. And then the entire time, though, what am I going to do? I'm going to make time on the trip to call her, to talk to her, to FaceTime if I need to. And he knows that. That is setting my expectations, my boundaries, and being respectful of my partner. And it's like being able to do that and finding that time is what you try to do, even if it's only 5 minutes here and there.
Yeah.
Why is that detract from like the amount of time shouldn't matter as like, or it should be equally as much as the effort that you put in to make sure that you do try to further that bond with that person, that they are important in your life.
I guess why do you think it is that like when we first come out like that we immediately like seek somebody to, is it a lack of self-confidence that people are doing where it's like, I don't know.
I have a theory.
Go for it.
Usually if you're seeking somebody after you come out, it's usually trauma behind it, i.e. your partner has left you. Your support system is gone. So you're out looking for another form of support, and it's based off, trying to find that similar trauma, and then you just latch on to. I'm guilty of it. Like, I'm completely guilty of it. I came out
early on.
We all did it. Like,
I was like early on, like I am not excluding myself at all. This is just advice for those new, the trans people.
Advice from the learned.
Yeah. It's going to happen and it's going to hit, and you have to be able to keep reflecting. That's one thing I've noticed a lot of trans people I will give credit to. We reflect a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're here. We had to reflect on who we are, right? Like, we're very reflective on that, on the self. And so it's like, just make sure you continue doing that. It's like, yeah, you figured out who you are. Keep reflecting. keep learning. Keep adapting. It's a process.
And I know for me, one of the good things that has helped is just staying busy. Like when I find these times where I'm like, oh, I want to go out and seek somebody, like pick up a project or, start find a hobby or join a team of some kind and basically fill that time with something that's not creating a relationship. Because, it's so much better when you're just like, look, I can't, when you start actively pushing away relationships, potential relationships is when I think you've made it. That's kind of what my mentality is like when I'm to the point of saying, I don't have time for this. When somebody's like, hey, you want to go on a date? I'm like, I don't have time for that. Sorry.
You've learned to say no. There's too many people where they will be inundated with stuff to do, and then they end up hurting others because they didn't keep a calendar, or they overscheduled, or they did whatever, and they're just going everywhere, and they're overworking themselves and burning out. You can't do that. You have to be able to say no. But when you say no, if you actually do want to see the person, what do? You propose a new date. You propose a new time. Mm-hmm. You're the one who said no, so now it's on you to go ahead and just be like, hey, I can't do this day, but what about this time? Right? And if they can't do that, then the onus of responsibility goes back to them to be like, oh, I can't do that date. How about that? It shows the interest is still there, even if you can't do that day. And even if it might be weeks or a month away, you can still lock it in. You can still show them that you very much care about them. It's just, again, everybody has their lives. But once you say no, the interest is shown and the care is shown by still trying to go the extra mile and planning something with them, even if it's not on that day. Yeah.
In that same vein of the whole dating thing, one of the other things, I guess, maybe get y'all's opinion on this, but I'm to this point now where people are like, hey, do you want to go get dinner or something? And I'm realizing my voice, because of my voice, and I've started to kind of try to raise it up a little bit, but my voice and my mannerisms, I've been hanging out lately with people around here. And
have you seen my TikTok?
Say what?
Have you seen my TikTok?
No.
If I drop my voice like this, people fucking love it. And it's weird. It's weird to me, right? But they don't care. They don't, you'll find people who love you for you who do not care about your voice. Mine in the morning, when I first wake up, which is evening because third shift, But when I wake up, people are like my voice is deeper, and I have to like bring it back up, right?
Fucking same.
The people in my life who love me don't care. They don't care, which I love. Of course, it's like it's an internal insecurity I have, but they don't care because what they do care about is just you. It's just you. And they know you're struggling, they know you're working on it, and they don't care because they can see that as long as you're happy, they're happy. That's what matters. It's a compersion, not a jealousy, not a insecurity, not a feeding of shame and guilt that you're not there yet. That doesn't matter. The process, and they can see that you're being yourself, is so inspiring along the journey, along the way. I don't know how many I have. Actually, I could pull it up for inspiration to me. I have over 160 screenshots of people who have messaged me saying, even along the journey, just what an inspiration I've been to them. Meanwhile, they've already inspired me to be myself. It was crazy. Eris Jolie, I'll give her a shout out. I love her to death. Here in Play Louisville, I saw her the first time ever 4 years ago now. 4 years. 3.5 is December 2020. Don't care. She helped me be myself.
Yay.
And now she's told me how much of an inspiration I've been to her to come out to be herself. Because before she was a drag queen. Still had the like pronouns and still figuring it out and everything. But she is thriving now. She's transitioned. And it's wonderful to see that. And I was like, wait, I had an impact on that? You had it on me just to be it's crazy. And it can be that togetherness, like as you grow together, that's pride. That's just growing and building the community together and inspiring each other. It doesn't have to be one-sided, period, ever.
Well, I think the thing for me is like I get into these like not relationships, but well, it is relationships, but like friendships and like groups of people. Like I was hanging out at the Pride event yesterday, and like even my close friends, like that I had some, just allies who were there, and they kept, just because of maybe the way I was talking and the way that like I sound, but I kept getting hemmed. Like, and of course they'd catch themselves right away and be like, oh, whoop, actually, hang on. But it's just because like, and that's something I don't like, that keeps me from like going out and trying to date. So on the 17th, 10 days ago was 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Yeah, it took me about 2.5 to 3 before, and I still get hemmed. Which is crazy. And I go, I know that I am the epitome of masculinity.
I know.
But it's she fucking her. And then it just throws them off a little bit. And I did that to a supervisor, actually. I did that to a supervisor. I called down on that shit in the middle of a meeting. I don't care. I was like, it's she, her.
Yeah. I mean,
if this is a man to you,
yeah,
I need to go have you look in the mirror and call yourself she. Because we are obviously blind.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy to me. I'm like, where is the he, him?
And that's like one of the things that I guess it's kind of like it's important to impart to like the baby trans people is like, 2 years in, I still have these like feelings of like, when people say she, her, I'm just like, I tricked you. But, like I was hoping getting surgery and changing my voice and everything, those feelings never really go away, at least not from me.
So wait, have you done, I haven't done any voice training, so I can raise my voice like this without any voice training.
Yeah. I
did it myself, but, and I learned in a car on the way to work back and forth. And I did techniques. Believe it or not, Matthew Mercer helped me. Critical Role actually helped me because he's able to change his voice so easily, right? And I started watching the things he was doing. I just kind of studied what he was doing, and I learned how to raise my voice as a result. Try humming, and when you hum, raise your voice, and then instead of humming, talk. That's one. When you swallow, everybody does it. When you swallow, your Adam's apple, everybody has one. I don't give a shit how prominent it is in some people. Everybody has one. I will emphasize that shit. When you swallow, and not in a sexual way, it goes up. It goes up, right? At its apex is where you want to try to hold it. So there's this video I have on TikTok where it's literally like, all you need to have is a choker. And I take off the choker and I drop my voice. And people are like, whoa. But some people caught on. They were like, wait, no, that she's actually giving good advice. I was like, yes. If you wear a choker, it forces you to raise your Adam's apple. If you wear it tight enough, it forces you to raise your Adam's apple to keep it above. And what does that do? Raises your voice. So if you can naturally do it more, it's going to help. It's going to help. And that's crazy, right? And you can just practice 15, 10, however many minutes a day you can apply to it on a car ride somewhere. Hopefully by yourself, and you might look crazy to other traffic, but who gives a shit? Talk to yourself.
All the time.
Do those things along those lines, and it's going to help your voice. And that's been one of the most beneficial to others, I've noticed, is the choker. Lifting.
And I can attest to the whole, like, I mean, I've probably spent the better part of like $3,000 on voice lessons. Essentially just so I can get a bunch of PDFs and documents that I could have probably gotten off of just like of just going on YouTube. But one of the things I do want to try. So
when you end your sentences or when you pause, women is what I've noticed. And do I have autism? Jesus. All right, here we go. All right, that's another thing. They end up. So men or more masculine individuals, when they talk, they'll end down. Yeah. They end down. When you do it and you talk up, it lifts at the end. Is another little tip that when you end your sentences, just get used to taking whatever like syllables, whatever you're saying, and then just raise it. Just raise it slightly, and you will sound more feminine. Just even right there, if people start analyzing my voice as I go, it's a lift. And women, cis women, that is how they talk. Which I know it's really weird to be like studying you and how you talk all the time.
Oh, I know. But all day long.
It's just like, yeah, right? It's like I wish, of course. I don't know if a lot of trans people feel the same way, but it's like, of course I wish, I was just born cis woman. That would have been nice, but it's not the cards I was dealt. So as a result, I'm just playing on hard mode. Cool.
Yeah, survival.
Welcome to Elden Ring IRL. All right.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and
this is the DLC. This is the DLC that I want to tell you about.
Well, and I've also started like watching like videos on YouTube on like, just how to sing. I mean, even that is like, because essentially all these lessons that you take, the people who charge you $100 for 45 minutes, just so they can tell you to like, essentially how to change your resonance and it's like, oh, well, also you could just look on YouTube of how to change your resonance by learning how to sing.
TikTok.
They give you all these like tips and it's like, oh, you just learn how to sing. And that's, I guess changing your voice a little bit. But
and I'm not a professional by any means, but I would say like if people want to talk to me, I'd say the results kind of speak for themselves on what I learned a little bit. To be able to go from this to this, right back up to it, is kind of fucking wild. Like, a lot of people are like, it's a great party trick, too.
So
once you get it down, get the party trick going.
I was trying to tell Danny on a text message, but she doesn't listen to me anymore, so it's like talking to a tree stump. But back in 2018, I took 3 different months worth of voiceover acting. So that was for like cartoon characters or reading books or video game characters. And I actually got a lot of time in the booth where she's recording you and you get to hear yourself back. So that helps a shit ton. And she tells you how to do like 10 different talking styles. And the one that I was trying to tell you about was talking with your eyes a little bit. So you act like you're talking out of your eyes in a sexy sort of way.
I mean, when I go out and
I get people like this all the time.
Yeah.
It's just like
right there.
Well, when I was, like when I meet somebody new now, I kind of do. I just like, hey everybody, hey, I'm Danny. So, and just a lot more smiling, a lot more talking like this, and then eventually once they get to know me, then I'm like, hey, what's up? But
that happens to me too. Once I get comfortable with people, my voice naturally lowers. It just does, because I feel more comfortable with them, right? So I sink back into my comfort level of talking.
Let's be
It's
yo, dude.
I mean, the hard part, like, it's so hard. Like, I was trying to tell somebody that, like, because people are like, oh, why can't you just like change your voice? And it's like, when you think about having a conversation with somebody, you're applying filters to everything you say. You're applying does this sound stupid? Is this relevant? Have I given enough time? Like, all these filters that we add into our head of like,
well, ADHD says, fuck that. You just go, and you just go,
but now people are expecting us to add this extra layer of filter to this. Like, does this sound feminine enough? And it's just like, people who they're like, oh, you sound like a dude. It's like, you try it then.
Yeah, you try.
Yeah.
Go ahead, prove me wrong.
Like,
and then if they do bust it out, I just learned something about them.
Yeah.
If they do bust out a women's voice, I'm gonna be like,
wow, that's really good.
On the weekend.
Interesting. Interesting. It sounds like you've practiced quite a while. What in the? Oh, you hear that cracking? That's not. That's an egg.
That's your gender dysphoria speaking. I mean, like, all these things are really good advice for like the new eggs, because like there were so many things that when I first came out, I was like, oh, I need to do this and this and this, and I mean, it's important stuff to like take time to do. Like, I think for me, I was expecting like these immediate results, like, after a week, basically, to see something different, and it's like, no, that's just not going to happen. But also learning to embrace it. Like, I've when I really dig into it, I start trying to change my voice a little bit. It freaks out my friends because they're like, "Don't talk like that. That's not your voice." And it's like, okay, I get it. Like,
my voice is my own.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how it fluctuates, it is mine. Period. If you don't like it, I will not water myself down to make myself easier for you to digest.
That's it.
Fuck off in the general direction in which you speak.
Yeah. I don't even fucking try that much anymore. It's like,
oh, hell no.
People don't know any different. They just don't fucking know any different.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's like, and what you'll notice is the harshest critics, which is interesting, are the people who have known you forever. Like, in terms of like, oh, it's very difficult, or they like, if they are more closed-minded, they'll be like, well, I've always known you this way, I'm sorry. But here's a weird contention point that I've had to counter every single one of those motherfuckers. My sister, who I love to death, has known me her whole life. Not my whole life, because I'm older. Makes sense. Her whole life. She has not messed up a single time. A single time. That's 29 years that she knew me at the time and did not mess up. As soon as I said, hey, I'm transitioning, it's she, her, she's like, oh, fuck yeah, I always wanted like an older sister. Oh, thank God. I love this. And I'm like, it's not hard if you put forth the effort. And when you talk to other people, here's the thing, is they should use your right pronouns. They should use the right things for you when you're not in the fucking room. Period. It's just a respect thing.
And that's the other thing, like going back to the whole adding filters to what we're saying. And that's kind of one of the things of like, they expect us to add filters, but then they like, it's like, hey, you want me to add a filter? How about you add a filter to yours and you get the right fucking pronoun?
I call them out on so much stuff. I'm like, oh, damn, you don't look cisgender. I thought for sure you were trans. You do really well for cis.
Wow, yeah.
The fuck does that mean? Exactly. What you're doing, and it calls them out on their shit, and it makes them do what? Reflect. Yeah. Because a lot of people have gone, oh, well, I'm like, hey, have you ever thought, like, I've talked to women and men, like cis women, cis individuals. So I'm like, have you ever reflected on who you are? Like, really reflecting? Like, no, I know who I am. Yeah. There's already a difference. Is you haven't done that.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's wild. I was like, there's already an immediate difference. A lot of people have not on who they actually are related to gender. They don't do that.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, and we get kind of a lot of this whole like, oh, you're doing this for attention, or it's like, who would do this to themselves? Who would put themselves in this?
Sacrifice your family, get hated in life, have a super high risk of suicide rates, have literally your point of your life in contention, and you know what you decided against all that adversity, it's still fucking worth it.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about this that I'm just like, go fuck yourselves. For all those individuals who think we just do it to win in sports.
Mhm.
Like, anytime I beat a man now, I go, sorry, biological advantage. Like, suck my dick. I'm so passionate about it, and I'm just like, sucks to suck, doesn't it? Damn.
Yeah.
Or they don't expect me to be able to, like, it's crazy. I have the sleeper build from a farm for 15 years where I can do 40-pound dumbbells. And they're like, from where? I'm like, there's nothing here. I'm like, I know. Powerlifting. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Or I did, like, hay bale stacking 8 high. I was able to do that shit back in the fucking day. And so it's just like, I know the techniques, I know what to do, and I used to do that. Now I don't, because I don't want to look muscular. I can look toned. But I'm just like, and HRT kind of nerfed me.
Yeah.
But it's just like, quit. It's like, I know myself better. Don't tell me you know me. Or if they say you're a dude, it's like, damn, I'm glad you've known me for 40 years of my life. Or however old you are. It's like, damn, you know me better than me? I need you to see my therapist. Holy shit. Like, coming up with those clapbacks just smacks them with words. And it's so good. You have to be so fast with that shit.
My favorite one that I'm waiting to bust out is when a guy says, oh, hey, you're a dude. I'm like, hey, one of us has to be, bitch. And
that's a good one.
So
That one.
That's a good one too. I like that one. That one's simple.
yeah, I mean, like, and that's another thing, like, that for all the new trans people out there is like, you're gonna find that, like, no matter how many people have seen adversity, whether it's like women being treated, cis women being treated badly because they're female, minorities being treated badly because they're not, a white person, or other members of LGBT, there's going to be a lot of people who have experienced that hatred, but they're more than willing to hate on you, and like spread that sort of like have somebody to step on. So
something I've said for the longest time is, are you a cis white straight male, or are you a porn category?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think about it. There's no cis straight white male category. There's no BWC on there.
The talent.
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's anyone and everybody else. And so you're just like, when you start thinking about that, it's a little icky. Or like, who the primary consumer is, because they're not listed for the majority. It's wild to have that insight where you're just like, huh.
Yeah. Well, and the others' ability to basically like to otherize us, because it makes I can't tell you the number of times that somebody who's part of an outsized minority has basically been like, "Ew, you're gross," and it's like, you don't see me. Like, I had an older black guy say, "You're one of the good ones," and I was like, "You realize how bad that would say if I said that to you?"
Yeah, exactly. It's like, flip it just before you say something. Go ahead and flip it back on its head. Or if I've had somebody like say to me, "Oh, she's cute for a 50-year-old," I'm like, you could just stop at cute. Anytime if you're about to say a sentence and it ends with "for a blank," don't say it. It's a compliment. You are insulting them within the compliment. And it's not a good feeling. It's not, because your default expectation is that they're not that. And that is insane to do to somebody. That is a smack in the face.
Well, yeah, and basically it's saying like especially when the guy said, "Oh, you're one of the good ones," he expected it to be kind of like a compliment, but it's like, wow, so you're basically just saying that like all trans and or LGBT in general are just garbage people because you've had probably one bad experience with them. And
you can apply stereotypes or their personal experiences and anecdotal ones and apply them to everybody. That's not fair.
Anyways, but yeah, we wanted to keep this short just because we didn't want to I guess overextend our
great topic though. That was awesome.
Yeah. So I
talking about it. So it's like it just wrote itself.
And for those who are listening, we're going to also try to start doing if you're a fan of the show, we're going to start to do more of these, just us chatting about a situation or something. If you have ideas or you have something you want us to talk about, feel free to email us. It's just info@girl.girls. And yeah, send us like any questions, anything you want us to talk about. We get a lot of people asking for advice, and so if you feel like it, just shoot us an email, and we will address it in a show sometime.
Or if you like mean tweets, we'll read those back.
Get your fucking eyebrows done. It is one of the best things you can do as a trans woman. Get your eyebrows shaped. Immediately watch your face transform. Okay, you do. It's $15 to $20. Go get it done. Go get it done.
That. And if you think you're in love with that person, you're not. You're 2 months in.
Reflect on why. I would take 2 months, but I swear to God, it's been like 3 weeks, or like I would take 2 months if you're seeing each other like weekly or even more than once a week. Like, okay, cool. And you're actually like in that dating process and stage.
Yeah.
But it's like during that time. But I make it clear to people, I'm like, one-on-one is different.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And for those who are listening, just know that like, especially if your egg is just cracked and you're just just getting into this for the first time and we sound jaded as shit, it's just because we are. But no. Know that,
follow me and go look at my highlights.
Yeah.
I chose every beginning month. I did it like monthly for the first like 6 or 8 months of my journey, and all the bullshit that happened. My little Madonna tits, like little pointy, like Laura Croft. Fucking little monsters. They leaked at one point in time. It was crazy. And I talked to cis women, and at the same time I was like, hey, is this normal? And 2 of them were like, no. And the other 2 were like, yeah, I did that. And then they looked at each other, and I was like, cis women learning things from each other. Way to go.
Look at that.
Thank you.
But yeah. Well, and know that everybody's journey is different. But all of them are worth it, and celebrate yourself and all of your victories, because you will have lots of them. And but yeah, well, this has been awesome, y'all. I guess we can go ahead and just do the outro, because we can let all the people get back to their time. But yeah, so anyways, thanks everybody for listening. For Girl Dad Girls, I'm that QT Danny B.
I'm Bree.
I'm Scarlett Anastasia.
Sexy. And everybody, thank you so much for being a fan of the show. And if you're not a fan of the show, what the hell are you doing here? And we will talk to everybody next time. Bye.
Thank you.
This has been a production of Girl Dad Girls Podcast. Check out new episodes every Thursday. If you are interested in knowing more, please email info@girldadgirls.com or find us on Instagram @girldadgirls. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.